Hey, I have a question for you. Do you think COVID-19 has changed the way buyers and sellers look at the real estate market? Yeah, I was wondering the same thing too. Well, you know what? In fact, the Ontario Real Estate Association, OREA, they put together an 89-page report on what buyers and sellers are looking for in 2021. And in that report, they talked about COVID-19 and what buyers and sellers are talking about and what they're thinking and what they're going to do. So here's what they're going to do. Well, you know what? Let's go look at the report together. Okay, looking at the report. Here it is right here. The 2021 Home Buyer and Seller Report. The 1,100 plus people that were surveyed, 19%, almost 20% of them said they were likely to buy a home this year. That is incredible. So amongst all the craziness, the pandemic, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, the uncertainty, people are still looking to buy in this real estate market. And of that 19%, here's the real talk. 6% of them said they will buy a home this year. So I don't care what people are saying about COVID. Has it slowed the market down from that perspective? At Home Buyers Ontario, we have a strong buying pool. Now, the other stat I have up here, because I always like looking at both sides, if you will, right? When you peel that onion away, there's an inner layer and there's other comments and there's other narratives that are happening in the market, right? So looking at this information here, are you likely to buy a home in the next year? Well, the biggest concern is over affordability, right? And in fact, 28% of the people said affordability. And as you look down, remember this video is about COVID-19 and the pandemic. What are your concerns as a buyer? Only 11% of the people surveyed said they had concerns over the pandemic, so they wouldn't be buying. That is crazy because we're all, if you're watching the news like me, and if you're reading all the news reports, you would think that there is a major stoppage happening or about to happen and our market is about to tank. Well, this information here tells us otherwise. Timing of the purchase, or if we dig a little deeper, the main reason for buying a house. We're not talking about selling. We're gonna get to the selling in a moment. Well, the main reason for buying a house. Number one reason, I need a larger home. We all heard that before, right? I need a larger home. I'm expanding, I need more space this way and that way because our lives have changed over the last year. The second reason is I want to own a home. There's a lot of first-time buyers in the market that are looking to buy a home. We also have immigration. Even though we haven't had much of it over the past year, leading up to it, we had a lot of immigration. So those that have immigrated here would be classified as first-time home buyers, even though they might come from a country and they've owned many homes. But in Canada, first-time home buyers. Next down that list is, this is it, the low mortgage rates will fuel that industry, will fuel our buying power as well, and we want to take advantage of that. And if you look a little bit further, is the pandemic, life changes due to the pandemic, like I'm working from home 5 days a week, like perhaps I don't need to go to the office as much, and I realized, wait a minute, I don't need to be in the downtown core or in a major metropolis. I can come out and buy a bigger house where perhaps things are a little bit less expensive. So interesting to note, the main reason for buying is I need a larger home, and the pandemic situation is a little bit farther down the list, right? All right, the next piece of information, ways COVID-19 has impacted the decision as a buyer. Here's the main reason buyers are looking at buying a home this year. You know what the number one reason is? Yeah, I have evaluated my priorities when buying a home. So those have changed over the last year. Perhaps, as we just read and looked at, you want a bigger house. Perhaps your job has changed or the way you commute to work has changed. I want to live somewhere less densely populated. So we're seeing people move out of the city core onto bigger properties, meaning more land, more space. I need more space in my house for a gym, for an office, for schooling. Now here's the neat thing is People are looking for homes not with one office, but with 2 or 3 offices. So imagine what that looks like for homes, right? And for renovators. So here's the ripple effect. As we move into homes and we require a 2nd or 3rd or 4th office, who's doing those renovations? Contractors. So that's the ripple effect. We're seeing this evolve into much more than the real estate industry, right? And it's interesting how our reason for buying a home changes as not only do we get older and our families grow bigger, but also as our jobs change. Now, has COVID-19 changed the type of home buyers are looking at? Well, not necessarily. In fact, only 19% of the people looking to buy a home this year, that style of home has changed. Has the pandemic influenced buyers in the type of home that they're looking at? Well, here's the interesting thing, is 3 out of 10 people are looking at homes that have bigger outdoor space. We just talked about that, right? And the younger demographic are looking in areas where there's already an incredible internet infrastructure. That is so important to today's commuter, in a sense, where they're working from home. And then about 20% of the people say it hasn't changed the type of home that they're looking at. They've always thought they would end up in a home, or they're always seeking in a home this size, this big, whether it's the location or the type of home, which is pretty cool. Now, what type of home are these people looking for? Detached, semi-condos, what do you think? The number 1 home, as it always will be, is a detached home. And you know what's at the bottom of that list? Condos. They're at the very bottom of that list on this survey. Ways the pandemic has changed the search location. 68% of the people surveyed said they were always looking in this area, or the area that they're looking to buy in. The type of home may have changed a little bit, and the use of that home has maybe changed a little bit. However, 68% of the people said, no way, man, I was always gonna buy there. Can't fool me, I was always gonna buy there. And in fact, 15% of the people said, you know, I was looking to live downtown in a condo or something like that, but not anymore. I'm going north, I'm going east, I'm going west, wherever it may be. I want something a little bit more space. Here's the interesting stat. Of the people surveyed, 49% said it's not that important to me that I see the home before I put an offer in. Whoa, that is crazy. So it's about 1 in every 2 people. So really, the other side of the coin is, no, I want to see the house. It's really important to the buying process. So you see how people over time, that mindset has changed because of the pandemic. And we have much better tools now to view homes online and virtually. However, as a real estate agent, realtor, if I'm protecting you as a buyer, you got to get into that house. So to sell or not to sell in a pandemic? Well, what has the pandemic taught us? It's taught us that there needs to be a strong supply of homes, or that price will keep going up and up and up, because right now there are more buyers than there are sellers. So the pandemic hasn't slowed that down at all. And interesting enough, of the people surveyed in this report, 18% of them said they are somewhat likely to list their home within the next year. And of that 18%, 5%, five right here said they will sell their home. So that's typical of the market churn. That shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. We always have buyers and sellers, but it's the remainder, that entitle of 18%. That's a big number, because people are looking for a lifestyle change, right? This is how the pandemic has changed the way we look at real estate, because they want a lifestyle change. So this is interesting. Am I gonna get the value of my home? How confident am I that I'm gonna get what the realtor and what the market says I'm gonna get? As a seller, I can tell you, very confident. The confidence in the valuation of the market right now from the seller's point of view is very, very, very high. So how do we educate our sellers? You need to be looking at the stats, not monthly, not quarterly, but weekly. Definitely look at them weekly. If you're a seller out there, look at the stats, look at the information of what homes are selling for, how fast, how much, and when do they close. Look at that weekly. So in summary, what has this report taught us about the pandemic over the last 12 months? It's taught us that buyers and sellers have a tremendous amount of confidence within the real estate market. And how do we look at things a little bit differently? Well, It's a lot about the lifestyle choices that people are making. Bigger homes, homes that can accommodate work from home, gyms, schooling, kids doing school at home. What does that look like to you as a buyer and a seller? It provides tremendous amount of confidence within the markets. Yes, there's some uncertainty with how prices are going, but when you have low interest rates and a lot of equity in people's homes, people are more willing to sell their home for X amount of dollars. Let's say you sell your home for $1.5 million, $2 million. And if you're moving to an area where the average price is $1 million, you are a very powerful buyer from a financial standpoint. So that's one of the main reasons why we're seeing some of these secondary markets outside of the Greater Toronto area have such strong real estate markets. And we're gonna see that, I think, going over the next 3 to 6 months. You know, it's interesting over the summer what'll happen as we enter into step 3 here in Ontario. People are more willing to get out and have fun, right? And the real estate market might just take a little bit of a backseat approach for the next couple of months, but that always happens in the summer months. It's our typical real estate cycle, and I think we're going to get back on that typical real estate cycle moving into September, where it does pick up again. And as interest rates remain low, so will the real estate market. It'll have the power to move forward. So the pandemic has taught us a lot. It's taught us how to do things virtually. It's taught us how to work virtually. It's taught us how to sell homes virtually, how to look at homes virtually, but it's also provided, funny enough, the confidence within the market. And we always know real estate over time is a great, great asset. So love to get your comments on what you think is happening in the real estate market. Love to get your comments on what you think the pandemic has done to the real estate market. Good, bad, indifferent. Hey, we're all learning as we go here. I'm Gary McGowan. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.